All right, we are here with Jake, the Grinder, Heffernan. How you doing, man?
Very well, doing very well. Excited to talk to you boys.
All right, so the Grinder here, Mr. Heffernan, he's going to be fighting at LFA 72 here in our hometown, or home state, I should say, of Arizona. This will be at Phoenix, the Comerica Theater, and actually, that's not all the way true because, Jonathan, where are you from, my good sir?
I am from unhappy Sierra Vista.
Well, okay, but
my number one hometown.
There you go.
Is my home state is Texas.
Okay, and what city?
Andrews.
Andrews. How close is that to Houston?
Ooh, that is like super far. That is Andrews, Texas is on the west side of Texas, and Houston is on the east side of Texas. Like southeast kind of side.
Okay, but you two are Texas boys, so I'm outnumbered here.
Oh man, well you know what's funny is I was actually born in Tucson, Arizona.
I guess now I am outnumbered 2-1. I guess.
yeah. So it's actually it's funny when they offered the Tucson radio show. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
That is what's up. We're actually talking to a local boy. How you like them apples? All right, so I just got like the details for this interview. Literally, like right before I texted you is when I found out.
Yeah.
So we're literally flying by the seat of our pants. But you're fighting at LFA 72 in Phoenix, so it's about a hour and a half, 2-hour drive to Phoenix or from Tucson, depending on how heavy your foot is. So not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
So you think you're gonna bring a decent crowd?
I actually have quite a bit of family that lives in Phoenix. So I was born in Tucson, and I actually lived in Phoenix for 7 years. So hopefully some of my old school friends will make the trip to the Comerica Theater, and then my family members will also be there as well. So it'll be a nice little crowd for me as well. I know sometimes when you go to other states, you gotta battle against the hometown crowd as well. But I think I'll be a little bit more comfortable being that I was born in Arizona.
Okay, do you think you're gonna... Are you here already, or are we still in Texas?
I'm still in Texas, yes.
Okay, now, I'm not familiar with the climate of Texas. So is it like Arizona where it's a dry heat, or do you guys experience humidity?
No, yeah, this is Houston. We get the deepest part of humidity here in this city. So it's really, really, really hot, and it feels like you're swimming through a swamp constantly. So it's the moisture definitely kicks the heat up a little bit. It'll actually be nice. Every time I visit Arizona, I'm always like, dry heat. This is awesome. It feels so much better.
Well, see, you have the unfortunate timing of monsoon season. So
Yeah.
I don't know how bad that affects Phoenix, but for here in Tucson, like the humidity goes up, and it's really not that bad. I'm just kind of a bitch when it comes to weather, and I got no qualms with that. I got no problems admitting that when it comes to weather, I'm just a complete little pussy.
Oh man, I've never really minded weather. I had a fight once where I traveled all the way to Colorado, and it was super cold the entire time we were there. So to go from like hot and humid in Texas to snowing in Colorado, and we thought maybe that would be an issue, but really the only thing that was trouble was the altitude. But we made it through that fight. I got the finish, so I'm not too bad when it comes to the climate change or the weather change going state to state.
Well, that's a relief. That's a relief because people who have never been to Arizona and come to fight here, it's a different ball game, especially because we don't have seasons here. It's either really hot or it's really cold. There really is no in between. So
for sure.
Some people just aren't used to that. So it's you have experience here, so I guess we're not worried about that at all. So this
not too worried. Just if anything, maybe a little bit of moisturizer for the skin, but that's about it.
There we go. This is your third fight with LFA, and LFA is like a launching ground for the bigger promotions. They've sent their just a plethora of fighters over to the UFC. The Bellator is picking a few up. I've even seen some fighters go overseas to like One and Ryzen. This is a pretty big platform, especially when you're talking about getting to that next level. You're 7-1. That's not a bad record. Do you think that staying with this promotion and continuing on the same track with your record? I know we're coming off of a loss, but we're hoping we get back on track come the 26th. Is LFA? Do you see it paying dividends staying with this promotion to get to the next level?
Oh yeah, man. I actually, I didn't make a big deal of it when it happened, but actually during my last fight camp, I got signed to LFA for a 3-fight contract. So I still have 2 fights left on my contract. 1 fight after this one. Mm-hmm. But LFA again, like they do a lot more than most other promotions, especially the local promotions. Like they make the advertisements, they make sure you get interviewed, they make sure your name stays relevant. And they take care of you so well on the advertisement area that your name gets so big. Like the first time I fought for LFA, every other promotion was hitting me up immediately to try to fight for them. And honestly, like when you experience a promotion that'll take just such good care of you on the outskirts of like your camp and stuff, like they're always contacting me, they're always making sure camp's going well. I've talked to Ed a bunch of times. I talked to him right before I fought Gabriel last time, he actually manages Gabriel Silva, so it was a little bittersweet, that fight, but I definitely feel very at home with the promotion, and I know for a fact that they'll lead me to the bigger show.
Well, that is very humbling to hear. I don't work for LFA, but I fucking love it. I love LFA to my core. You're not the first fighter to express how well that LFA takes care of their fighters. And, like I said, they constantly are launching fighters to bigger promotions. So, and plus they put on, like, some of the best cards. Like, LFA 72 already is probably one of the most stacked cards they've had in a while. Especially when you talk about the talent that comes from Arizona. So, thanks for, kind of giving your little 2 cents on the promotion itself. I'm really I'm sure they're gonna appreciate that. So
yeah, for sure.
Before I just completely dominate this entire interview, I'm gonna let my co-host get a couple things in. Go ahead, John. What you got for the grinder?
All right. Well, it is a pleasure talking with you, and thank you for your time this evening.
No problem.
My first question for you, since your last fight didn't go your way, have there been any changes to your camp in preparation for this upcoming fight?
Yeah, definitely. Always changes, whether it's a win or a lose, we always make slight changes. Even on amazing performances, there's always something to take away from it. And, granted, I was on a 9-fight winning streak before I lost, so it's kind of hard to say, oh, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing right. The fight was a little bit short. I didn't really get started. I had some unfortunate things going on just right at the same time as the fight camp and the fight week. So I think I just wasn't mentally where I needed to be for that fight. And then, honestly, like, when people ask me about the fight, I take no credit away from Gabriel Silva. He's about to fight, I think, next weekend, almost the same day as me, against Ray Borg. And I hope him the best of luck. But I still believe if you ran the same fight 9 times out of 10, I would win that fight. 100 times, or 99 out of 100, I would win that fight. It's just one of those. He threw a big hand to try to connect, and on his end, he connected, and then his reaction afterwards, his follow-up punches were perfectly placed, and you really can't take away from that. But at the same time, my guard was high. I was coming forward. I was intruding on his space. I felt so amazing. Even watching the video afterwards, I was like, man, where did I make a mistake? And all my striking coach, my jiu-jitsu coach, even Safe saw it over at Team Fortis. He was like, dude, you did nothing wrong in that fight. You went out on your shield, you had your hands up, your chin was tucked, and you got caught in the temple. there's really nothing you can do about that. And, you know, that's just the way it is. And one good thing, I guess, to take away from the fight that's also kind of laughable is the fact that I shot a really good double off my knees on that referee, and he was like 3 times my size. So, I mean, all I'm saying is, you know, I enjoy the fight life as much as possible, and like I said, we're definitely always making changes. My guard's a little bit tighter, my hands are a little bit more crisp. And you know, obviously, I'm a grinder. I make sure my jiu-jitsu is on point no matter what.
Well, that's amazing. I like that take. I mean, a lot of fighters, you know, not that they like try to make excuses or anything, but I really like how you're just like, yeah, you just caught me. But hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Hopefully you get that W, because I'm pulling for you on this fight.
Texas boy, come on.
Longhorns all the way, baby. My second question I got for you. All right, I'm a big NFL fan. I love my Houston Texans down there. Are you an NFL fan, or do you even pay attention? And if so, what's your favorite team?
You know, it's hard because I live in Houston, and of course I'm supposed to support the Texans. But man, I was paying attention to football like 3-4 years ago, and then my team just started doing so bad, the Texans, and it was like they just could not get a good quarterback. They couldn't figure out who was in charge. You know, you have an amazing season, you make it to the playoffs, and then your coach gets fired and then gets hired by the Patriots. So it's just like, how can you support a team that honestly just makes a lot of mistakes? So I don't actually pay a lot of attention to football anymore. You know, I'm one of those diehard MMA fans. I have my Fight Pass. I have ESPN Plus. I watch fights all day long. I watch jiu-jitsu competitions all day long. And I'm also one of the head coaches at my gym. So, you know, I'm just martial arts all the way, man. Like, I live the lifestyle. I train kids at my gym, and I train adults, and I do private lessons for my main income. So there's literally no part of my day that doesn't have martial arts in it. So it's actually a little bit hard to watch different other sports, just because you know, that my interest is definitely 100% mixed martial arts.
Gotcha. I mean, shoot, if you're doing what you're doing, I would full 100% do exactly what you're doing.
He ain't got the time, Jonathan. He ain't got the time.
Oh man, you know, I got two kids as well. My son's 2, and my daughter's 2 months. She was actually born 30 days after I fought. So, you know, like, apart from the martial arts lifestyle, I also got that daddy lifestyle working in full 100% mode as well.
Hey, that daddy life, that's awesome, man. So for my third and final question I got for you, is what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not training, or if you're not giving lessons at your gym? Excuse me.
I have an extensive DC comic book collection. So anytime I'm not watching videos, I'm making my way to the comic book store, buying a couple of volumes, and getting down and reading about Batman, Superman, and the Flash. Like, honestly, I'm going to have a fresh and crisp comic book at the fights while I'm waiting to fight. When I'm in the back, if I'm not warming up, I'm going to be cracking that comic book open and getting myself mentally prepped with some superhero fighting.
I'd like to hear that. DC, man, I like that. Now, do you prefer DC over Marvel, or does it really matter?
I'm DC all the way, man. I tried to do the Marvel comic books at one point when I was younger, and I just could never get into the artwork or the storylines. I like DC because they change it up. There's always a different villain. The villain always gets away somehow, some way, and you know, with Marvel, I found a lot of the times it's always the same bad guy inevitably. So I like DC because they keep it fresh.
Well, nice. That's actually really nice to hear that you're a DC fan. I'm a big Batman guy, so I got to start getting my collection back up. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a big Batman fan, but even more of a Flash fan. I've actually done a couple of super fights, the jiu-jitsu sub-only matches. When I do those, because they're super fights, I wear a superhero outfit. So I was the Flash like 6 times out of those matches. I was the reverse flash once, but I got heel hooked in like a second, so I don't wear the reverse flash outfit anymore.
Oh man, that's fucking funny, dude. Excuse me. Well, that's all that I got for you, man. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna send you back to the host.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
All right, yeah, you guys were kind of keeping me on the edge of my seat because I don't know shit about comic books, so I was taking notes there. I watched the Marvel movies. We're actually watching them like in order. My wife found like this list of the way to watch it so that you don't like miss anything. So I think
right, yeah, the order. I will give you that. Marvel does an amazing job on their movies. There's the cinematic universe is awesome, and DC is kind of falling behind in that area.
I can agree. I think the problem is they can't find the one guy to play Superman and the one guy to play Batman. They got to change them every 2 years.
Yeah, that's you gotta get somebody who's like, I'll die as Batman if need be. Like, let me get a Wolverine style Batman, bro.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you, but isn't Wolverine Marvel?
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. So Wolverine is like that's that consistency.
Yeah.
They just keep having. Hey, Hugh Jackman played him for so long, and man, I'm even thinking that they just were joking about the whole death, Logan dying. They're probably gonna still use Hugh Jackman, man.
And they're gonna use him for something. All right. So again, you're fighting a couple weeks away. Well, I think we're about like what, a week and a half away?
Yeah, a week and a couple of days, about 9 days out.
Okay, so all the hard sparring, all the hard work is done, right?
No, sir.
I keep getting that.
This is what we call Hell Week.
Okay.
This is what we call Hell Week. The week before Cut Week starts. So basically, my last hard day is going to be with a couple of old UFC vets who, one of them is actually fighting for PFL, Daniel Pineda. I go see him at his gym, 4 Ounce, here in Houston, and I get down with all the rest of the pros all over the city, and we put our big gloves on, our shin guards, our big boy pants, and we get down. And that's my last hard session is on Saturday. And then from there, I just slowly start getting that weight off. And, obviously during camp, I'm constantly losing weight as time goes on. So, but yeah, so definitely this will be my last hard week, and then Saturday night I rest, Sunday morning I rest and kind of recuperate, and then Monday we start cutting like lightly, and then Tuesday cutting lightly, Wednesday fly out to Arizona, and then cut the rest of the weight, chill, weigh in on Thursday, meet up Paris on Friday, and then go to IHOP Friday night.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought Paris up. Okay, he's your opponent. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Now, Jits is kind of your world. Okay, you've already talked about how you've done submission grappling. We're not going to talk about the reverse flash. We're just going to go ahead and just talk about your skill sets. Your BJJ versus his BJJ. Who wins?
Well, I'm a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing it for 11 years. I train with some of the best black belts in Houston, and some of them are some of the best black belts in the world. They go to IBJJF, and they compete, and they go to different super fights across the country. So I definitely have no lacking in my grappling for that. Also, we are not wearing a gi, and this is not a grappling match. This is an MMA fight, and if there's one thing I know how to do, it's grapple and punch at the same time. And that's where a lot of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts kind of lose their ability, is because they start to focus on just trying to lock an arm up, or just trying to break posture, and they're not realizing, like, the second we hit the ground, I'm going to be hitting you from everywhere as much as possible. And the thing about it is I know how. I know how to hit. I know how to keep my posture up. I know how to transition well while I'm hitting. So it's one of those things where it's actually exciting. It'll be the first black belt that I fought. But, man, I fought some amazing wrestlers who tried to keep me down. And the fact that I know how to use sport jiu-jitsu with punching and attacking with my actual fists, it just changes the game, man. And the other thing is I fear no man, and him having a black belt affects me nonetheless. My head coach is Alex Morano. He's my black belt. We go every single day. He's a 170-pound fighter, so he walks around at like 185, 190, and I have no issues, competing against him and getting ready for fights with him. So the fact that Paris is a black belt affects me not at all. If anything, I'm just like, oh, that would be cool to have a black belt beaten on my record. So what would be cool is to drop him and then choke him or catch an arm and twist him up and get him to tap. That would be really great.
Yeah, that would be a huge feather in your cap. And you could do worse for training partners than the great. So Alex Morano, is he going to be in your corner?
He will. Alex Morano and my coach Matthew Wald will be in my corners. Those guys are my ride or die. They've been cornering me since day one. Amateur fight number one. I've been with the same team. They know me move for move. Everything I've learned from Alex, and all my striking and my striking getting as good as it's gotten has been from Matt Wald. So there's 100%, confident and coherent coaching from both the boys. The one coach that's not going to be there will be Joel Heinen, who is also usually in Alex Morano's corner. Mm-hmm. He unfortunately couldn't make the fight, but he's my jiu-jitsu, MMA jiu-jitsu coach, and then Alex is like my MMA punching and jiu-jitsu coach. But so he'll be the only one not there. But yeah, man, we're good to go. We've made these trips before. Like I said, I fought amazing grapplers. When I went to Colorado, I fought the number one guy there. He was a really good wrestler out of New York. And he took me down, beat me up for 2 rounds, and in the middle of the second, or at the end of the second round, I ended up catching a Kimura from the guard, reversing him, taking his back, and then choking him out. So, any forward pressure is not going to be an issue for me. So.
Okay, and we're going to rewind a little bit. What got you into fighting?
Oh man, I'm one of those guys that invited the rest of the buddies over, and we beat each other up in my front yard and my backyard with little tiny 4-ounce gloves on. And then eventually, once we did it enough times, we were like, man, we should hold some fights and actually train for these things and beat each other up. So not to say that that's my background, but I did a couple of backyard brawls way back in the day when I was like 15, 16, which aren't legal, so that's why I didn't do a lot of them. But I just got the taste for that grungy, meat-headed, go have fun and punch your friends in the face. And once I realized I was good at it, I was like, man, I gotta see if I can do this for a living. So I just hunkered down, found a gym, and I've been here ever since. I started out as just a lowly white belt, getting on the mats, getting choked, and now I'm one of the head coaches here at the gym. So,
well, that's a pretty fucking.
It's been a long road. When I first showed up, actually, Alex Morano used to hate my guts. He would always beat me up so hard to not make me come back the next day. And then I just always came back. I thought that that's how it was supposed to be. I thought you were supposed to get your ass kicked by your coach every single day, and that's what made you better. And then here we are, 11 years later, I'm 7-1 as a pro. I had a good amateur record. I've done some smoker fights way back in the day, some backyard brawls back in the day, and I honestly would change nothing about my past just because my present is so awesome right now. I got 2 amazing kids. I recently bought a house for those 2 kids and my wife. My wife trains with me. She's my fitness and nutrition coach. So, my life is great. And the background of all the fighting and realizing that I'm one of those meat-headed guys that just wants to punch my friends, it really just took off, man.
Well, you sound like a well-rounded. You got a well-rounded fight life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All around, you're a head coach. You've got the bare knuckle backyard beating the shit out of your friends experience. You got the head coach that just beat the shit out of you in your early years, and now we're here 7-1 competing on one of the bigger stages. Not the biggest. We're not quite there yet, but I have a feeling if you keep your winning ways here, one of these top organizations is going to come calling. So that leads me to my next question for you. Obviously, I'm pretty sure most fighters are, going to say, I want to go to the UFC, right? So if the UFC doesn't come calling, is there a second pick preference?
Nah, man, I know 100% for a fact that I'll make it to the UFC eventually. Other promotions like Bellator can kind of put a stigma on your name once you fight for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying I wouldn't eventually fight for Bellator or one of those, slightly smaller promotions. I almost fought for PFL last year. I just couldn't. The camp was a 4-day notice, so I couldn't accept the fight. But I'm always down to fight. I don't think I've ever said no to an opponent just because I'm about that life,
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things, man. My last fight, I was on that. Dana White's looking for a fight. I talked to Dana. He knows me. He knows my name.
Mm-hmm.
He said my name like 50 times during that little show. Him and Matt Serra. So I don't feel like the unfortunate loss. I don't feel like that hindered my career in any way, shape, or form. And the thing about LFA is, man, again, they just take such good care of you. It's like, why would I go fight for anybody else when LFA already feeds everybody to the UFC? And as far as I know, Mark Berry, the matchmaker, as far as the president, like, they love me, I love them. As long as we make weight and we put on good fights, we're good to go in that promotion. So if anything, after this fight and the next fight, I'll just be asking my managers to see about another 3-fight contract with LFA. If not getting the call up to the UFC, that is.
Damn, look at that shit. He's already got his next fucking 2-3 fights planned. Okay, so now let's say the UFC calls, but it's a Ultimate Fighter or Contender Series. Are we open to that?
Ultimate Fighter, I don't think they're going to do any more seasons of that. I actually tried out for the last Featherweight tournament. I made it to the second round of picks. Unfortunately, got beat out by Delani Perry, the Fight God. He lives here in Houston as well. He's one of my training partners, and basically they just didn't need 2 guys from Houston. They just needed 1 Texan guy, so they took Delani. And honestly, that dude is a showman, and he talks a lot, so he did well on that show. At least on camera, fight-wise, not so much, but he did well on that show. But I tried out for the show. I definitely would have done it. At this point, having 2 kids in a house and a full-time job at the gym, I would kind of veer more towards Contender Series because it's an easy enough. You accept the fight, you make weight, you go to Vegas, you fight, you go back home. Whereas the Ultimate Fighter House, you gotta be gone for 6 weeks. And like I said, my daughter is 2 months old, my son's 2 years old, so I don't want to miss out on the important stuff. I'm with them every morning for multiple hours. I get a lot of time in with my kids, and a lot of time in the gym and a lot of family time. If there's 2 things that are the most important to me, it's my family and then it's MMA. So I wouldn't want to, if the Ultimate Fighter were to come back up with another season and ask me to go, I would definitely put a lot of thought into it, but I would definitely veer more towards the Contender Series.
Fair enough. Me and Jonathan over there, we both got 2 daughters each, so we understand that, 100%. Family definitely comes first. So, my last question for you, man, my very last question for you is, how do you get it done and what round?
First round with my hands, hopefully. I'd like to just go back out there and show I've been working on my stand-up a lot with my striking coach over the last 2 years. He has literally changed my fighting styles from being just a grappler looking for the takedown to somebody very threatening on the feet. My first fight with LFA was against Peter Stanonik, and he is literally one of the best strikers out of Texas. He just fought for Glory Kickboxing recently, and I used my striking to employ my grappling, and I think it just showed a lot of people like, hey man, if you guys want to get down with the hands, I'm ready. And the fact that I'm fighting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, it kind of just makes it one of those things where it's like, should I play into his game or should I play into all of my game? And I think I get it started with the hands in the first round, and then just kind of slowly get him to commit to maybe trying to pull guard on me like a typical black belt after getting a little bit beat up, and then just kind of beat him up from the guard, get him to make a mistake. I'd love to like drop him with a punch and then take his back and choke him or submit him, but honestly, I could see the whole fight being done in the first round. I have a lot of experience over this guy. He is a little bit older in the sport, so it's just one of those things where I think the more well-rounded fighter will kind of usually fare better in the fights, and I do consider myself to be definitely the more well-rounded fighter in this one.
That's a very analytical approach to that question. I kind of like that. It's very
yeah, man. We try to stay smart up here in the woodlands in Houston.
Well, you are fighting an Arizona guy, so I can't say come back with the W. I can say good luck. I can say good luck.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know he's popular up there in Scottsdale, and so I know he'll have a good draw for his crowd. I know he's also a head coach at his gym and a black belt, so I'm sure all his students will be there to watch. But playing a jiu-jitsu match, like I said, this is an MMA fight, and I can stand, I can strike, I can grapple against the cage, I can hit that clinch, and I can go on the ground in any which way you want. So if there's any area that you're suffering in, that's where I'm going to beat you. So.
Well, again, I want to thank you for your time, and I got to give you a lot of respect for taking a fight against a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in his hometown. I know that you said you were born in Tucson, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can give you a little dap. I'll go ahead and give you a little dap, and I do wish you the best of luck in your fight. I wish everybody the best of luck. I just want to see a fucking kick-ass show, which I know all of you guys have been working hard, and it's LFA, so it's gonna be fucking awesome. I want to give you as much time as you would like to thank your sponsors, training partners, coaches, whatever. The floor is yours. Take it away, my man.
Yes, sir. So, first and foremost, we have Loaded Pistols, which is the guys that make all my fight banners and shirts. FightSmarts.com. They design everything that I get to print for my shirts. After that, we have Mike the Truth Jackson. He's my photographer. He's also in the UFC and fought Mickey Gall and a couple other guys.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we have Vincent Real Estate. He's the one who just got me my house and helped me with all that. Bayou City Tattoo Shop, the ones who hook up all my sweet body ink. We have CLM Equipment, that gigantic, basically the tractor store where you buy all the cranes and stuff.
Oh, shit.
I do have a really awesome Houston Spine and Rehabilitation Center, which is basically a chiropractor's office, and they offer massaging, stem, cupping. They give me my preventative treatment so that I don't get injured during camp. And then last but not least is Sky God Productions. They hit me up, and actually not last, but they hit me up and sponsored me for my supplements for this fight. And then we have actually Anvil Roofers, my most recent sponsor. I just picked them up. One of the guys that I train with at the gym, actually. But if you guys need a new roof done, I know I do. I just bought a house, and it's built in the 80s, so I'm about to get a new roof, and Anvil Roofers is the ones that are going to hook that up.
Nice.
So, if you guys are in Texas and you need to get a roof, hit up Anvil Roofers.
I like that.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
That's that. And other than that, just the I did get a little bit of training over there at in Dallas with Faceod, the Fortis. That gym is amazing. I just want to give a shout out to them. Not 100% a teammate yet, but I'm on my way to getting my butt kicked up there and being considered to eventually be a full-time team member. So trying my hardest on that. And then, of course, Gracie Baja, the Woodlands, my home gym. It's where I'm a head coach. I teach all my kiddos. I teach all my adults. And this is really where it's all started. So definitely Gracie Baja, the Woodlands here in the Woodlands, Texas.
Well, and shout out to yourself because you do private lessons. Plug that shit.
Yeah, private lessons. Let me know. Hit me up. You can hit me up on Instagram, JakeTBTW, Twitter, JakeTBTW89, and then Facebook, just Jake Heffernan, MMA. But yeah, if anyone wants to get a little bit of training in, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of kickboxing, you let me know, and we'll get going.
All right, you said 89. You're 29. When is your birthday? That means you turned 30 this year.
That's right, sir. I do turn 30 this year.
Yeah, I turned the dirty 30 back in February, so don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Well, if I just do what my mom does, when I hit the age of 30, I start aging down. So my mom, she just turned I think 15 or something like that. So.
All right, well, anybody else? Anything else?
No, that is it. Those are my sponsors. I can't thank them enough, and I look forward to putting another win on the record and just feeling that support.
All right. Well, again, thank you for your time. That is Jake the Grinder Heffernan. We will see you weigh-ins on the 25th, and then we'll watch you compete at the Comerica Theater July 26th. This is LFA 72. Thank you very much, Grinder. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate the interview. Have a good night.
Hell yeah. All right, man. You take it easy.
You too.